Welcome back to episode 3 of the Building Regime podcast. Where to start this week? I think we're in a much better place than where we were last week. If we touch upon where that was, obviously our manufacturer pulled the plug on us and pretty much dropped us, leaving us scrapping around to try and find the new one. And it's been a pretty stressful week, but a lot's moved forward. So Hamish, want to fill us in?
Yeah, so great news. We've got our manufacturer sorted now. We reached out to one of the ones we spoke to previously, and we actually were close to going with them in the first place, which probably would have saved us a lot of time. But anyway, we've done full circle. We're back. They've taken on our formula. They've contacted all of the suppliers for the ingredients and all that sort of stuff, and they've ordered it. So that's exciting. So they think we can get in within 2 weeks, and we've got a provisional date of the 24th of Feb. So yeah, it's looking a lot better than last week. We're definitely excited about, the upcoming 2 weeks. But yeah, it was a bit stressful last week, so we're happy to be back on track. To be fair, it's actually kind of crazy, I think, that we're in the same spot, like logistically, as we were before. Obviously, we could have saved time, but, we didn't know that. Yeah, we're basically in the same spot as we were before, and we could maybe even launch a bit quicker than we're planning to, which is interesting.
It's all a bit mad because I think the turnaround from paying that invoice for the R&D day was 3 days of when we received that crushing email, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, to be fair, I think that, like we said in the last episode, that because they're a smaller manufacturer, it's family run, people who basically speak to the guys who own it, sort everything out, and because of that, I think you cut out the amount of people that are involved, and because they see, look, they're going to want our business, aren't they? So they're going to want to do everything they can to get us in as quickly as possible. Because we had the formula, we had the contacts of the, the ingredients manufacturing things. They just did it. They flew away and came back. Yeah, we've ordered it, ready to go. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
It kind of felt like we were back at square one, but then I guess it's a good insight into that we actually weren't, because we'd done all of this work building the relationship with them previously, even though we didn't pick them. So we just picked up, didn't we? And then sort of went forward from there. So you weren't completely back at the start, which was nice.
Yeah. So when you called, I mentioned the name, when you called them, what did you say?
Well, they said, oh yeah, well, you should have picked us the first time. That's the first thing she said, which was quite funny. I wasn't really trying to hear many humorous things because I was pretty stressed at the time.
Strictly business.
Yeah, but it was a completely different tone to the one that who we were previously working was, because obviously they were a bit more of a serious, clear-cut, this and this sort of manufacturer, because they were bigger, sort of larger scale. But this one's a bit more of a family-run one. So this whole process has felt a bit too informal, sort of in places for my comfort. But I guess it's just a way of working and the way that they do things. Like even when it came to like R&D, obviously they were very, I guess, clear cut on the exact suppliers, the ingredients, everything that was in them. But it was very much approach of, just rock up on the day and we'll sort it then.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, they've given us the full day as well, which is great. And then obviously if we need to go back for another day, we'll just book in, which is really good. Whereas before, I think what we have maybe 5 hours.
Yeah.
They can't afford to give so much time. But yeah, so I mean, look, I feel like I'm in as good, if not better place than I was, over a week ago, because, I think we're going to have more time with them. We still got the exact same formula, exact same ingredients, exact same products. And I think it's quite comforting that they're a bit more informal, because it means you can actually build more of a personal relationship with them, and actually, they'll probably feel more involved in the project. Whereas if we're just another number, name on a sheet in a big sort of corporation, then and obviously because we're not putting in a massive order, really, in real terms, we're not priority in a massive manufacturer. Whereas with a small one, we can become more of a priority, which means that
As we grow,
hopefully it should all go to plan, and hopefully they can be as interested in the project as we are.
Yeah, it's nice to have things back on track then. I think in terms of other news for this week, we've got our landing page sorted and up and running. Little insight, you can find that in the description of this podcast and on our socials. But it's a nice place where you can go to, number one, register your interest in the brand just by entering first name and email. But then also we're giving away a year's supply of Regime for one person out of everyone who enters that pre-launch sign up. So that's kind of a cool thing to have up and running. You can get early launch access as well as some further insights into the brand that we're only going to release out via email. So get yourselves signed up for that. I think even in terms of that was it took a lot longer than it needed to, didn't it? All this stuff we're trying to figure out, Shopify, landing pages, everything. Definitely not experienced in it.
It seems so easy as well. It's literally like you messaged me like you're struggling with the uploading the landing page to our Shopify store. And I logged on, I could see the one you built and it just said publish. So I clicked it and I was like, it's done. And then soon realized it wasn't done. And then to change that one it's just so painful. So yeah, definitely not an area where we're experts at all, but
yeah, I think quite embarrassingly, it took a combined 15 hours to do a 2-minute task, but we finally got there in the end. So that's up and running now, which is exciting.
For sure.
What else do we need to cover?
We've started posting on all our socials. So you can find us on TikTok, Instagram at Drink Regime, and you can find us on YouTube and obviously the podcast Building Regime. Obviously, as I said, the wait list is in the bio of all of them. So click it, enter yourself, it's completely free, and you'll put in the raffle with a chance to win a year's worth of Regime. And obviously, because we're not a big brand yet, you should have a pretty good chance in winning. So yeah, obviously, just going back to the first point, we've started posting. So how do you feel about that? And I find it a bit weird, but what's your thoughts?
Obviously, we've been talking about it and then trying to devise a somewhat strategy, because I think the overall, funnel that we're trying to create is basically using all of our content as a way to push people to that kind of waitlist sign up, right?
Yeah, sure.
But how we do that is a bit of a minefield. So we're going to meet up on Sunday and then really try and strategize that. But like we were saying before, I think we just need to give people the most authentic insights as possible and try and bring people as close as we can to the brand as we're building it. So we need to find a way to pretty much record everything and give people insights into everything without just releasing content that's not engaging. So I think that's the challenge.
And to be fair, I find it pretty difficult. I know this is only our third podcast. It still feels strange being on camera. It feels weird trying to put the camera up and just like when you're typing away, or you know what I mean? It just doesn't feel right at the minute. So hopefully the more we do, the more comfortable we'll get and the more sort of real these videos will be. I want to say real, I mean just like, a bit more personable, get to know us a little more, what we're like. Because in reality, what we're like is going to be what the brand's like. So, yeah, hopefully over time, content side of things will slowly get more, more real really, and get more of an insight to the brand, to us, our day-to-days, what we do, why we take electrolytes, because obviously we've not really gone into that, like why we're into health and fitness and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, it's kind of all exciting and all a bit of a learning curve, because I personally have no idea what we're doing. And if we're talking about buying cameras and things, it gets to a whole other level.
And then how do you feel now that we've pretty much publicized it and it is actually out there? Because these podcasts, like realistically, if you look at who's listened to the last 2 episodes, because we released our other one today, we've had like 2-3 views, and probably 2 of those are us. So no one's actually seen it, and you kind of know that when you're releasing it. Yeah, and when you release it, you know that you're probably going to be the only one watching it, because we haven't pushed it out to anyone. But obviously, on TikTok today, when we released our first reel, we've already had friends commenting on the video. Well, we don't really know how they found us, but it comes up on your For You page, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely because it'll be under one of our numbers, so it'll be like people you may know. But yeah, I saw it on my FYP. So I saw it as a comment, I was thinking, well, we got friends. Turns out it's one of our friends.
How do you feel about that then? And how do you think it's going to be received? Like, obviously this.
I don't know. I think differently by certain friend groups. Obviously, we've not done anything like this in the past, so it's kind of new realm for us. I feel a bit sort of not uncomfortable, but like obviously it's very apparent that we're putting ourselves out there. So yeah, it's kind of weird. I think that once people start to see the content, see what we've sort of done with different things, I think because it's quite professional in my opinion. Obviously some people might disagree, but I think that, it's not just like we've decided to do it and bang, there it is. It's obviously been quite a long time coming. So yeah, I think just excited to see, or more interested, so I'm saying, to see the response from different friends and things. But once we start posting it, through our own personal, like socials and things, and just trying to get out there, then obviously there's going to be a few different responses, I'm sure. But yeah,
Well, I mean, the thing is though, I don't see why anyone would receive it as not like quite an inspiring and positive thing. Because really, we're just trying to put ourselves out there and just trying to do something that we want to do and document while we're doing it. So I think if anyone feels uncomfortable about that, it's more of like an internal thing.
we said this before. If I was really into the brand, really into what we're doing, really believing it, then we wouldn't be doing this. Like, it just would be so fake. And so, like, I mean, you just wouldn't get me posting any of this stuff because, for one, I wouldn't want anyone to associate me with something I'm not proud of. So now we're kind of at a point where, we want to start getting eyeballs on it. We want to start pushing people towards the wait list, get a link description. But I mean, yeah, we want to start building the brand. We want to start actually getting people to join the journey of us building the brand. So this sort of stuff has to be done. And like I said before, once we start filming more and more and more, we'll get more comfortable and it'll become normal. So yeah, just excited for it and excited to what sort of things it brings in and the opportunity.
Also, I'm actually like really enjoying it as well. Like, when you're like putting the reels together and then finding the right background music, it gets me so gassed up, man. Honestly.
Yeah.
I get excited.
I enjoyed this as well. I actually enjoy, like, obviously we have kind of set days which we record the podcast on. And I love it. I love it. Look forward to it outside the day and then get back and I'm like, right, let's get going.
Yeah. In a kind of mad way, I kind of want I want there to be little obstacles during the week because then it gives us more to talk about.
Yeah.
It makes the best episodes. So I hope something doesn't go wrong next week. But if it does, it's kind of a good thing, man. Something else to post about.
It's kind of the icing on the cake, is that we can talk about it on here.
It's a new reel to go viral. We need it to.
Yeah, we are like 5 followers at the minute, so make sure you follow us.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I guess then, in terms of updates, that's pretty much all we've got for this week. I mean, maybe like on a final note, like how are you feeling towards everything? What's the texture of your mind like at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, definitely better than last week, for sure. I think that now we've kind of covered bits of this, but it's like throughout, slowly as we've got more clear on how the project's actually looking from like a logistical standpoint, sort of, we're not really going to see many delays. We have seen delays, but they're unforeseen. But now we're at the same point as we would have been with the previous manufacturer anyways. Yeah, feeling good. I'm just really excited to try the different variants, get really clear and dial in the flavour, and hopefully it's as good as we expect it to be. Excited is one way, but also we'll just start posting all this content and things, so a little bit kind of nervous, if you will, just to see the response. But like I say, I think, I'm content with posting it all because I like the brand, like the product. I just like what we're doing. So yeah, I think mixed feelings, but in terms of where the project's going, I'm feeling a lot better. In terms of what we're doing, it's exciting, but it's also kind of nerve-wracking just because we're putting ourselves out there. So kind of ups and downs. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, back to your point of like putting ourselves out there. Although it kind of feels a bit uncomfortable, I think it's been such a long time coming now. I think I've relived it in my head so many times now that it just is what it is. It's already happened.
And to be fair, it has to be done because otherwise, what's the point in creating a wait list, a landing page, all these sort of things if you're not going to push people to it? So yeah, it has to be done.
Yeah, I think also, by the way, like back to our point of like the only way to do it is that something that's been going over and over in my head has been like, what's the perfect way to like frame all the content that we're trying to release, how to do this, how to do that, how to position it. But I think you need to just post and then refine. I think that's like the key with this, because it makes you feel better about everything. I feel a lot better about things now it's up and running and going, because then you actually have a starting point to sort of refine from, rather than just, yeah.
It's similar to like the content side of things, is similar to the actual projects, and the fact that the start is going to be so different to where you end up. It's just going to be part of the like evolution of the whole thing. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But like I said, hopefully we'll get some more like content of us actually doing more cool things. Like R&D days will be good. We'll film all that and just all those sort of little bits, which will be cool to see. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah. I think on a personal note, probably not that anyone actually wants to hear, but I think this week, like I was saying to you before, has definitely been probably the closest I've ever felt to like actual burnout, where you actually can't think and you just feel like low. Because I think it was very stressful into that midweek point last week where we were scrambling around trying to get everything sorted. Yeah, that I think with me, I then start to not prioritize like sleeping and stuff like that. And then you just get worse and worse and worse as the week goes on. And then you try and firefight problems, but then you're not fresh to do it. So then you create more problems. Then it's like a little web you get yourself into. So I think definitely something could be done better from both of us is like having a clearer, or maybe even talking about it more, just like clearer actionables for the week that we need, that are really important tasks that we need to do to move it forward, rather than just like the million busy things that we could be doing. Because I definitely get really lost in them. That's like for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's just a black hole of things once you start. It's just there's multiple things. So yeah, I think that's a good shout. Obviously, we're sitting down on Sunday to go through our kind of like social strategy, if you like. But again, I think it's going to be every start of the week, just point out the things that are actually going to move it forward, and then how those can actually be achieved. It's quite hard. We're talking about it from time we put in. We're not really mentioning that obviously you've got to fit it in around your life, like other commitments, what you're doing, work, all these things. So that's why it kind of takes a toll. So yeah, I think, just planning it out will be a lot more efficient, effective.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, look, I think that's a good place to leave it. In terms of what's coming up, what's coming next, obviously we've got R&D in around a week and a half's time, which is super exciting. I think by the time that this is released, we'll be going into that week, which is quite exciting.
Just keep an eye on our social media. Obviously, we've not started posting. We need to keep it really consistent to give ourselves the best chances with the algorithms and all that sort of stuff. So we've got a bank of content already loaded up, and obviously want to keep that going as we go on. So, as I said before, at Drink Regime on Instagram and TikTok, and then Building Regime on the pod and on YouTube. As we said before, the waitlist is in the description of all of those. Sign up and give yourself a chance to win a free regime.
That's it. Sounds good.
All right.
See you next week.
See you next week, brother.